Rickey in the morning show, man. Listen, Gary is out with the tea today, but we still got some hot tea to pour this morning, man. So we got everybody together, and Twan is going to help us with this tea party, man. So let's get this thing started, man. So Lil Boosie has a theory about guys that was, was born or grew up in the 80s, and the internet is losing it. Check this out. All right. Supposed to have a clip right there.
Somebody stepped on the plug.
Yeah, my bad. What happened with Lil Boosie? Right.
Okay, so here's what Lil Boosie is saying. He said if you were born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s, you got it in with a crackhead.
What?
This is what Lil Boosie is reporting on Beyonce's internet. He said if you grew up in the 80s, you were a teenager in the 90s, you made out with a crackhead. He even alleged that most men lost their virginity to those type of people.
So you made out with a crackhead even if you didn't know that person was a crackhead.
This is what he was saying. Rickey, what are your thoughts on that?
I won't say that because I want to get dragged. I had a joke, but
Say it, dog.
No.
You better practice self-control, Rickey. I'm so proud of you. Oh, my goodness.
Right.
It is a cause for concern,
brother.
Y'all, I hear Drake is getting dragged, though, for something he said in the Lil Baby documentary about 2020 being harder. Now, I know it was challenging, but what did he say?
Man, Brad, he said that literally 2020 was the hardest year in human history. He said, forget music, just as a people, like it's the hardest time ever to connect with people, to relate with people. Of course, this went down on the Amazon Prime video documentary as they followed the life and career of Atlanta rapper Lil Baby. And the internet is losing it. They say, what about slavery and Holocaust and all those other things? How was 2020 the hardest year in human history?
Okay, I understand. You just can't say nothing. It's almost like, do y'all feel like can't nobody have an opinion anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on. I think it's I don't think it's a stretch to say 2020 was the hardest year in human history. I mean, it's not to, downplay those other things that your fans are talking about, but it was a hard year. It was a very hard year, mentally, physically, for the entire world. So I don't think that it was a stretch for him to say that.
Right. So if you're 17 or 18 years old and you went through the pandemic and history and you just really ain't seen the movie Roots and Mississippi Burning and just kind of figured out what our ancestors really, really went through. So when 2020 hit, right, you probably think like that's the worst time because you actually seen people just die. Everybody know, and we've had losses even here on the morning show, had somebody to pass away from the pandemic. So that was just kind of crazy. So I can understand where they're coming from. Is it just me?
Mm-hmm. No, you nailed it, man. I mean, shoot, the COVID-19 was a beast.
Well, I don't want no smoke with the human or the history. Follow these stories on my social media outlets at Twan360. Rickey, thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right, y'all give it up for Twan the Dawn.
Twan the Dawn.
Hey.